No, all religions are not the same, but they embrace enough common ground, I think, that we can find a unity in them and cause to respect religious traditions or spiritual traditions other than our own, and practitioners in other traditions other than our own, and that on the basis of the results, if you will. You want to judge a thing by its fruits. If the members, the practitioners, are attaining that which in one sense all religious traditions say is worth attaining, then we would be compelled to honor them and appreciate them. Overall, I would say that there are two broad groups of religion. Religion or spiritual disciplines that are ego-effacing, and religious traditions that are not. In this, it might be useful to distinguish between experiential spirituality and an orientation towards that, and a religious orientation. A religious orientation should, in time, foster spiritual experience. But if it doesn't, then it's stuck, and it doesn't become a viable religious tradition or orientation to a religious tradition. It becomes a religion for things, for acquiring, for acquisition, for improving material prospect, and so forth, rather than for seeing through the falsity of the carrot, if you will, of the material prospect, that just by adding a few more things to my life will be complete. So that kind of religion is counterproductive in a sense, and that's kind of the religion that gives religion a bad name. And it could be a good tradition, a genuine spiritual tradition, but not properly understood. So that kind of religion is something we're not interested in. But then the other category, the ego-effacing traditions, the traditions that foster real spiritual experience, they have value, and they have a lot of common ground. Within them, at the same time, there are some differences also. There are traditions of knowledge, where knowledge is the goal, and freedom from suffering, like the Buddha's teaching, or Advaita Vedanta, for example. They're largely about ending the problem of suffering that is fostered by desire and attachment to things, ending the ignorance, the avidya that is attachment to things, and the identity that's formed by identification with things, thinking something is mine, produces a certain kind of sense of I, and so forth. And then there are traditions that are, I would call devotional traditions, or traditions that have as their ideal love rather than knowledge. And those traditions include within them the knowledge of the nature of material attachment and so forth, and they dismantle readily that conventional sense of self, that material ego, but they posit, I think, greater prospect for us in the realm of consciousness. They include the knowledge within them, and then they offer something more. It's something like the difference between moving from negative numbers of karmic implication and the suffering that results therein to a zero, which has a positive value in comparison to negative numbers, And this would be your paths of knowledge that free us from samsara, if you will. And then there are positive numbers from 0 to 108, let's say. And these are the primary pursuit of the devotional, spiritual disciplines. They would be, as I say, spiritual disciplines of where love is the ideal, and knowledge is a byproduct of that. So there are different religions, and they have some common ground, and their differences, the differences among those that are ego-effacing and actually do have the capacity to bring us to a transcendent and ego-effacing reality, to stand us on the ground of being. The differences between them are more differences for discussion and debate. They don't bring us to the kind of differences that religion that is in pursuit of things does, that gives rise to war and so forth, and then the argument that religion has produced more suffering and more wars than the non-religious sector of society comes to the surface and so forth. So no, all religions aren't the same, but their differences should be properly understood.